Hello.
Hi.
Does this look like? Hold on. The hell? Those messages up.
Oh, look at you back at your regular spot.
Back in my planty place. That I had to hide from my
You guys come
cat
back
because
now?
no, we came back. I woke up early. I set my alarm at 7, and we left a little early before checkout because I had scheduled a COVID test, so we had to be back in time for that. I just stuck a swab up my nose. Oh, here she is on time. Look at that. My lover in?
Yeah. I found like a random ass. I don't even know what this is, but I'm assuming my little cousin wrote it.
What does it say?
If you ever get a text asking you want to play a game, search it up on White Page and you'll see all their personal info. What the hell?
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Nice little sweater you got on.
Oh, thank you.
Cute. Oh, even cuter.
Better.
Because it's sporty.
Very telling. It's like you're fun, you're professional, but you're also a little sporty.
Oh my god, I'm like so cool. So funny. So right before this, I had finished my Ultimate Focus Challenge course. I had a totally different outfit on because I had to like coach. And then right before that, like my outfits have gotten more casual throughout the day. Earlier today, I was like super businessy because I had to do a promo video for like a real estate expo that I'm like speaking at.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
So funny. I don't know though because they said it's gonna be in person. I don't know how I feel about that, but they're moving forward with it. Because it's an Irvine.
Oh, real estate expo in person? Ew.
You said because it's in Irvine.
Where they really don't like wearing masks.
Yeah, that's why. Like, so to them, it's like coronavirus is a hoax. It doesn't exist.
Interesting. When is it?
September 14th. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for being here today.
Is this your This is your last one for until you take a break?
Yeah, we actually decided just now that I think we might just do a whole month instead of 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, we're behind on planning, so I think we need that month to plan.
Yeah. Well, that's why when you all told me you were taking a 2-week hiatus, I was like, I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah. You were like, I don't know about that there.
Also, like all of August is pretty much going to be working on our streams. So I think we're going to be kind of crazy all next month.
Yeah, plus I'd rather have us like line up a bunch of people first and then like put out like a calendar of just the upcoming streams.
Yeah. So that will be our next biggest thing aside from the streams. Little notepad here, ready to rock. So I made, just so you can see, Kamille, share it with you now. But this is the welcome screen. And then I can take it out and then you can do your thing. And then once we go towards the end, I can show this. This is all correct, right? 3-part video series, coaching at the ultimate life, LOS.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm going to give it to them for free. I'm not going to charge them. So I'll just send it
to
to them.
So sweet. And then this is just like a wrap up to tell them that we won't be back for another month. It's actually, it really does work out that you are our first person, now you're our last.
Oh, yay.
This series session.
So will you ladies start with an intro and then will you ask questions or do you want me to go into my story? What would you prefer?
I think we can ask the questions at the end. I think we could let you rock for the first half.
Okay.
Do whatever you feel like you need to do.
Oh, you're muted.
Oops, sorry. Sorry, it's just loud at my house. Yeah, I think we could do like another quick, brief introduction I totally combined those words. Yeah, I think we should do like a quick introduction again, just for the people that didn't attend the first one,
Sure.
and then go into, you know, why you do what you do, and then take it from there. And then Sam said that to have some questions ready just in case everybody's shy. So and you know, knowing that they're what their, like, you know, struggles are already, it'll be easy.
Okay. So
So cool.
what are some of the questions that you ladies have, just so I know?
I was actually, I had a feeling that I would already come up with them while you were talking. Like I would know what to ask.
Yeah.
I might even be questions that I've already asked you before.
Okay.
In any of our other sessions. I can't think of any right now. I tried to, but I was like, I kind of want to hear you talk first. Yeah.
I would ask you about, like, you know, how does one deal with self-doubt, or like how does one deal with like rejection, or another one could be like, how do you overcome a negative situation to keep pushing forward. You know, and I'm just thinking of like the scenarios, like you deal with someone who's, you know, when you deal with, like, let's say from a promoter or just somebody on the business side of things, because I know it's different now because of COVID, but let's just say you have a negative experience from someone at a big company, but obviously you don't want to upset them, or just, you know what I mean, just how to deal with something like that if someone is a little much, and I guess, or if you get turned down, or just if it being negative, like how do you overcome that?
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing is, you know, overthinking of, like, I want to put my mix out, but I need it to be perfect. You know, when it's nothing ever is. And I think, like, you know, for them to understand, just I think, you know, putting it out there and just letting it go is something that they need to practice and put in their, you know, rhetoric, just so they're not holding these things too close to their heart, to the point where time passes and they never put the mix out they were supposed to put out a month ago, and then they don't like it anymore. So that's what I've noticed happens a lot.
Okay, cool.
I'm asking B if she's gonna come today.
Is my volume okay, or do you need me to turn up the mic?
Turn it up on. Well, actually, maybe I need to put my mic up.
Here. How about now? Too loud?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
How about now? I don't know. I can't tell.
There you go.
Is that good?
Good for you, Sam.
Okay. Just let me know, because I can't read the levels on the Zoom. It's not.
Yeah, Zoom doesn't really have a good sound quality. Let's see.
And most of these gals, like you said, Sam, are like younger, right? They're in their mid-20s, early in their DJ career.
Yeah, when they tend to come in, they're usually in their early stages of their career.
Okay, cool. So I'll tell a little bit about my story when I first started, like in the 20s. You know what that?
Yeah, I love hearing anything I can get out of that. And then I asked Marina. Marina should be coming too. Yeah, so I gotta practice what I preach. So,
Sam's good at that.
What is it?
Getting her homies to show up.
I was just like, at least it's not a club I'm forcing you to go to and get all pretty for.
Yeah, you're at home.
We just came from Trader Joe's. So hot today. Is this your last thing today, Kamille?
Yeah, and then I want to see if I can catch some of the Laker game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the bubble.
Are they playing in a bubble? Is that what that is?
I don't know. That's what they keep calling it.
Oh. I don't know what it's actually going to look like. I just know that the Clippers are playing the Lakers today.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard it was supposed to, like, you know, obviously there's nobody there, but we're all watching from home. I did get to watch The Last Dance.
Oh, you did?
Over. Yeah, I did. It's crazy. Hearing how Jordan was. I am almost done with it, but he was not like the smoothest leader. Just I know he wanted to win, but damn.
Yeah, he was ruthless. He was absolutely ruthless.
All right, cool. Put a little.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. There's someone here. Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. And then B is coming right now.
Okay. And let me hit the record. Oh, it is already recording. Okay. And let me see if I can get this to Twitch. I was trying to figure that out earlier. Let's see if it works. What do you mean?
Are you letting people in or are they not in?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to do something else. Okay.
You're able to
Welcome.
live stream this on Twitch?
Yes, I got it to work one time, but it's not working again. But welcome. We will get started shortly. Thank you for joining us. We're just waiting for people to arrive, and then we will get started with our Artist Wellness series today.
Some elevator music.
The DJ is done. You don't have music.
I know. We talk about it every time. Because, you know, Zoom's sound isn't always the greatest. Trying to get it in with a DJ.
Yes, and I believe people are coming in a little late today, right. So we will get started. But we start at 6:05, Kamille, and then we'll just let everybody in as they come in to Zoom.
No problem.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Here we go.
When y'all did yoga, was everyone like video on doing yoga too?
Barely. Most of them kind of hide their video, including me and Marisol.
Oh, really? How funny.
Oh my gosh, there was this one move like Ryan was doing, and luckily I had my video off, but I was like trying to like reach my leg back, and then it started cramping, and I was like in a ball, like I text Sam, I was like, oh my god, I hurt myself.
Yeah,
I was trying.
No one wants to see these rolls when I'm trying to do 5 million things. So, welcome everyone. We're going to be starting, right?
Yes, so let's go ahead and get started. Yes, so welcome everyone to our Ladies of Sound Artist Wellness series. We have a special guest back today. She initially started off our actual community chats when we began in start of quarantine. So it's only right that we close out our wellness series actually with our personal peak performance coach. So we are excited to share, her knowledge with you today. And Sammy, why don't you take it from here?
Yeah, so we have Kamille Rosaler. She is our peak performance coach, like Marisol said, and we're just going to be talking about different things in terms of mastering your mindset, gaining some clarity. This is what Kamille does for us every single week. Bless her soul. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Kamille. We're super excited for you to kind of wrap up this session for us, at least for the month. And yeah, go ahead and tell us about yourself and how everything came about in terms of just going through, this kind of career and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you, ladies, for having me. Thank you to everybody who's on live and listening to the recording. So, as Sam and Marisol said, my name is Kamille Rose. I am their peak performance coach. And if you're wondering, what the heck is a peak performance coach? So just think of it, if any of y'all like sports. I'm a big basketball fan, but it's just I see Marisol and Sam as players on the court in business. So these ladies are not only creators and DJs and producers, but they're really running a business. Ladies of Sound is a business where they're providing value to you all. And so I get to coach, stand on the sidelines of their life and their business and make sure that they're playing at the highest levels of their game. So just like a coach would for an athlete on the court, I get to do that for business owners and entrepreneurs. And if you're also wondering, well, how does somebody become like a peak performance coach, or how do you even get to that place? I'll start a little bit on my story if you ladies are okay with it. So hopefully it might shed some light for somebody else on, how do I become this? Like, let's say you want to become an epic DJ, you want to, be a headliner, you want to run a business or a production company. We all start somewhere. So to give you all a little background, I run a company now called The Ultimate Life. I don't know if y'all can see that. That's like my logo right there. So The Ultimate Life is a leadership mindset development company. And I work with epic entrepreneurs like Marcel, like Sam, like the Beat Junkies. I've gone into the studio and I've literally DJ'd in their class just to observe how the business model works. So it's an incredible opportunity. And I'm 34 today. So I get to work with some of the top entrepreneurs in the world now on their mindset, on their psychology, making sure they play at the highest levels of their game. But it wasn't always like that for me. So though I'm 34 now, when I was 26, 27, I remember being at probably the lowest point of my life, or my life at that point. I had just ended a relationship, so I was super depressed over that because I thought that was going to be the one. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that. I didn't have a job at the time. I was doing branding and marketing consultancy for different small businesses, but it was kind of like I liked it, but I was only 80% really liking it. I knew that it wasn't it. So I was struggling with that. I had to move back into my mom's house. I had pretty much no money. I had no car because I had sold my car just so I could pay off some debt. And so I'm 27 years old. I'm in my mom's house. I don't have a car. I don't really have a steady job. I'm in debt. I have like pennies in my bank account. And I have 2 degrees from like the #1 public university in the world. So I went to Berkeley, studied psychology and mass communications, and I'm feeling so ashamed. I'm 27, sitting in my mom's house, crying on the bathroom floor, like, what have I done with my life? Shouldn't I be further along than this? Like, I got this massive amount of education and knowledge. I know I've got a long ways to go, and yet I'm here. And it was such a difficult time for me. I remember feeling really lost. I didn't know who I was. And my defining moment, so for you ladies as a peak performance coach, and I say this to Marcel and Sam all the time, you got to remember your defining moments. Because especially as an entrepreneur, you have to know these special moments in your life that turn it around for you. And at 27, that was my turnaround moment because I looked in the mirror. This is my defining moment. And I did not like the woman that I saw at all. Like, I was shocked because if you saw me from the outside, if you were one of my homies, you knew, oh, Camille's got it made. She's doing so well. She's traveled the world. She's dating all these people, whatever. Like, it looks on the outside like my life is great. But on the inside, I felt like nothing. And no one knew that. It was like a hidden pain. And that was really difficult. So I remember as I was crying on the bathroom floor at my mom's house, staring at myself, not liking the woman that I saw, I kind of put my hands up in prayer and I was like, God, show me who you need me to become, what you need me to do, because I'm at my wit's end. I have no relationship. I don't have a car. I don't have money. I don't even know what you want me to do with my life. And I wish I could tell you it got like this big bolt of lightning and it was told to me, but I didn't. All I knew is I got this little whisper in my ear that said, you need to work on you. So I was like, all right. So I started investing in myself. Like, and I always used to kind of dabble in personal development. You know, I'd read a little Oprah here, a little Deepak Chopra there, come on these community chats, get a little inspired, you know, get on some people's Instagrams and like, yeah, hashtag inspiration. It's nice, you know, get all the quotes, have a Pinterest board of quotes. But I really got the feeling that you need to do the work, not just have it, not just be motivated, but like go dig and do the work. So I actually invested in my first self-development seminar. It's like a Tony Robbins seminar. I started getting coaching. I would go to these meetups. At the time, meetup.com was just kind of booming. So I'd go to these like women's empowerment meetups. I would go with it by myself without my normal group of friends just to get outside of my comfort zone. I'd go to little entrepreneurial meetups where I felt like a total imposter, like, who am I? I have nothing to add to this conversation, but I just wanted to learn. And so my first step was investing in myself. And then my second defining moment as I started to do this work was realizing, man, I had a lot of fear. You know, I didn't think I was good enough. I had a lot of dad stuff that I had to get through. I had unforgiveness in my heart. And during this time, a couple of friends were like, yo, you know, why don't you come work for us? We know that you did a lot of branding and marketing. And at the time I was looking for a corporate job because I just thought it was too hard to be an entrepreneur. I was like, I just need a steady paycheck, you know, forego my dream and just rock with a paycheck. And at the same time, I get a job offer from Warner Brothers because I wanted to be in media. And then I also got a job opportunity from a group of friends who were just starting a real estate company. And they were like, look, we need you to just change our brand, set up the marketing for us, do all of these things, but you have full control because we know that that's your thing. And Warner Brothers is offering me way more money than they are and benefits. And then my entrepreneurial friends only offered me half of the amount, but all of the potential of what could be. And so you think this should be a no-brainer for you, right, Kamille? You said you're 27, you ain't got no money, your mama's house, no car. Take the corporate job. You get the benefits, you get double the pay. What's there to decide on? But something inside of me said, I don't know. I feel like there's something here. And part of me was getting drawn towards the entrepreneurial side, helping these guys, building something, actually liked the excitement of it, even though it was less money. And so I remember praying on it, sitting on it. I went with my friends, but I negotiated because they asked me, all right, look, we can't give you more money, but what's valuable to you? So that was actually defining moment number 2, is somebody had finally asked me the question, what do you really value? And I had never really thought about that before, right? Because when you're young, you're just like, look, I just got to make money. I just got to get out of debt. I just got to get a job. But for the first time, I got challenged by a mentor and said, well, you got to be clear on your values because you want to make values-based decisions in life, not just money-based decisions in life. And when you're that young, I was like, I don't know what you mean values-based decisions. He's like, well, what do you value in life? And I sat there for a second thinking, well, my family. He's like, okay, what else? And I was like, well, like learning and growth. He goes, okay, cool. So how much do you need to pay your bills to make sure that you can help out Mama Kim? And then what if we give you a stipend for learning and for growth? Whatever you want to learn, whatever seminars you want to attend, whatever schooling you want to go to, we'll pay for those classes for you. And I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of dope. Is there a budget? And they're like, okay, you know, just don't max out this much. So then I just started researching. And at this time, I was just hungry for any personal development knowledge because I told you all I was trying to go through the work of like, what's inside of me? What's all this fear? What's all this doubt creeping in? I want to do the work. And I didn't have all this money to go to more Tony Robbins seminars or Lisa Nichols events or any of these motivational pieces. And so they gave me away. And so that was lesson number 2 for me, was figure out, well, what are my values? And then negotiate for that. Because sometimes it's not a money exchange. Maybe there's something else of value to you that you can get. And for me at that time, growth was more important than anything else. Healing was more important than anything else, because I knew to get to where I needed to go, I had to be so confident and so happy with the woman that I saw in the mirror. And real talk, at the time, I wasn't. So I knew, okay, Kamille had some work to do, and I was okay with that. But I reached out for help to do that. So as time went on, I started working with my friends. Like I said, I'm making half the money that Warner Brothers would have given me, but I get all the freedom to create something, to push and to build, and they're investing in my growth. And then the third defining moment for me, when it all really clicked, was I got to go to a Chicago seminar for Tony Robbins. Because remember, I told you at the time, my friends were helping me pay for a lot of my education. And I went to Chicago, had no idea what these seminars were like, and I didn't realize it was gonna be like a 4-day rave. I mean, it's like 5,000 people screaming, yelling, going crazy, in an arena for 4 days. And I'm like, this is not what I thought a seminar was going to be. I literally thought it was going to be like tables, pens, books, like, how do you feel today? And, I was kind of okay with that just to study the model. But it was us jumping, screaming. He did everything in the whole neuro linguistic programming, science of peak performance coaching. Like, he pulled out all the stops. Never seen anything like it. And on the second day, I always stand back in the production booth because one thing I didn't tell y'all is that I used to be, more of a hobby DJ. So when I was in high school and in college, so that's another reason that it was a divine timing that Marisol and Sam found me, because it's like, how do you find a business coach that also was once a DJ? You don't see that very often, right? And I'm Filipina too, so we also had that bond. But so I'm always a big fan of looking at the production setup because the music was always really dope at these events. So I was hanging in the back, looking at all like the lights and the production setup, seeing how they do this because I wanted to do an event like that. By the way, that's also a clue for you on what your calling is. Because if you naturally are drawn to certain things, like, hey, when I go to events, I like seeing how the event's set up, you actually might really like doing event setup and production. If you go to events and you're like, no, I like seeing the DJ and how they do things, and I like listening to the music and the playlist, then you might be an entertainer. You might be a DJ. So whatever you naturally gravitate towards, pay attention to that, because those are what I call the clues to your calling. There's little breadcrumb clues that get planted along the way, and the people who get there faster are the ones who pay attention to it. So that was my thing. I'd always pay attention to how are they doing these events? How is the speaker on the stage? What words are they using? So I didn't know it at the time, but I was already trying to create my own big, large scale events. I was already trying to be the speaker on the stage because that's what I was studying. So I'm standing in the back of the room, and there must have been a straight line between me and Tony Robbins. So if you don't know who he is, he's like a 6'7" white dude, motivational speaker. He's really intense. And I remember this moment as 5,000 people are jumping up and screaming. It was almost like the room went silent for me, and I felt electricity from the top of my head down to the tips of my toes. And something in my ear just literally whispered, and this is exactly what I need you to do. And in that moment, I had never felt this before. I was like, that's it. Like, it's almost like I knew it. That is my calling. And here's the trip. 2 seconds after I had that thought, like, boom, that's it. That's what I'm supposed to do. I didn't know I could do that for a living. I didn't know I could go speak on stage and coach people into their breakthrough. Like, I knew that was going to be what I did. But 2 seconds after that, my second thought was, yeah, but Kamille, you're a 5'2" woman of color, and he's a 6'7" white guy with a booming voice. Ain't nobody gonna see you on the stage. You can't do that. And I swear to y'all, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that that was an actual thought in my head. So when I told you I had work to do, that was still there. Even though my conscious mind knew, like, no, anything is possible for anybody, especially now in this day and age, right? Everyone's all about empowerment, equality. But 7 years ago, the message we have today on social media wasn't that big yet. And so I still was very much living in that, well, yeah, is that possible for a woman like me? Can I really do something like that? Maybe not. And so I leave the room, I leave the seminar because I'm like happy and depressed at the same time. I don't know if you've ever felt that emotion, but it's like, yeah, I know what I want to do. And I'm so fucking afraid to do it because I don't think it's possible for me. Yeah, all of that all at once, right? And I'm like, what, 29 now, 20, 29. And there was a gentleman who stopped me in the hallway, and he was like, hey, honey, you having a good time? I was like, yes, sir, thank you. And he goes, you don't look like you're having a good time. And I guess he saw right through my front. And I told him the exact story I'm telling you now. And then he looked at me dead in the eye and he goes, you know that Mother Teresa was 4'11" and she changed the world. And I kind of stood back and I got like kind of like gut check for a second. He goes, it has nothing to do with your physical size. He said, if it's in your heart to do, then you must do it. And I kind of stood there and he goes, all right, have a good time. Bye. And I never saw him again. And so that third defining moment was what I called my earth angel. And he like stopped me in my tracks and said, hey, if I've placed it on your heart and if you know it, then you must do it. And so I said, all right, let's go. And I just started doing massive amounts of research of what it took to become an executive coach, what it took to be a world-class speaker. And I started coaching with some of the best coaches. I started going to the seminars of some of the best speakers, and I would just sit at their feet and I would study them. And I put so much money into myself. Like I invested, I drank the Kool-Aid of what I knew one day I was eventually going to do. Because if I didn't believe in it, how am I ever going to pitch this to somebody else? Right. So I knew I had to do it. But there's a really great thing in the personal development world that y'all are doing right now, which is the fastest way to get to where you want to go is to model, not to copy, but to model. And what modeling looks like is that you stand on the shoulders of giants, people who have already succeeded in your industry, and you study them. What is it that they have done? How is it that they think? Who are they speaking to? What does their daily ritual look like? Because success leaves clues, kind of like what I was telling y'all. So I would go and find the people who were 10 years ahead of me, 15 years ahead of me, and I would just study them. Okay, how did you get there? What's your story? And you know what's crazy? 99% of the people that have massive success had really horrible beginnings. All of them, almost every person who was playing at the highest level for me of the speaking engagement game, of the coaching game, all had a depressive moment, a drug addiction, bad childhoods, no money. Most of them had no advantage. And that's also what gave them their hunger and their drive. So then when I turned 30, I'm 34 now, but when I turned 30, I decided, all right, I'm going to cut the ties for all of my consulting contracts that I had for branding and marketing, like my friends that I was telling you about. And then I started the Ultimate Life. Like I knew it was time for me to not just support the entrepreneurs that I had helped, but to become one. And I'll tell you, that was one of the scariest moments. One of the most exciting because I knew it was my calling, but also one of the scariest. And here's why. Who am I? I just started my coaching business. Who's going to pay me to coach them? I barely started my business. How are they going to trust me to guide them on their business if I haven't even started one myself? All of those are very normal questions in the beginning. And same thing as I'm telling you, the thing that gets me out of that is when you walk with your mentors. So remember this, the wise walk with the wise. That's one of the greatest decisions I made, is to walk with other people who are way ahead of the game, who had my success in mind. And they would push me and they would challenge me and they would say, Kamille, why is your focus on yourself? And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, every word out of your mouth lately has been, well, what are they going to think of me? Or what if they can't afford me? Or why are they going to pay me? They're like, nothing you have said has been about your client. And I said, no, but I mean, I'm thinking that because I want, to do good for the client. And they're like, yeah, but your mindset is all about why you're not good enough. You think they can't afford you. You've told me nothing about what you're actually going to provide value-wise. You need to switch your focus to service, not self. And so that was one of the biggest transformational mindset shifts I made early on in the game with the Ultimate Life, is I didn't focus on Kamille anymore. I just focused on, okay, who was I going to help? Whose life was I going to transform? And if you're thinking, okay, but in the DJ world, Kamille, like, what does that mean? Think about it. Whose party are you going to rock? Which client are you going to serve and perform best at? Which audience are you going to have and create a good time for them with? Whose playlist are you going to put together? Like thinking about them, because the experiences that you create is really what you all do. So, fast forward now, I'm about the 5th year in my business. And I will tell you, when I started my business, I was in the negative. I was just investing in my branding, investing in my marketing. I was still coaching myself, still investing in myself, still doing, I coached people for free at the beginning just to have case studies. So you might have to do a couple of free gigs just to get your experience there. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But I made the focus about service. So remember, focus on service, not self. Because here's the truth. And I hate to bust anybody's bubble if you're young and you're thinking this. Nobody's thinking about you. And here's what I mean by that. When we're so obsessed about, well, what do they think about me? What do they think about me? They don't. Most people are thinking about themselves. So they're not thinking about you. But what they are thinking about is, how can this person make my life better? Make my party better, make my club better, make this event better, right? And that's what you want to think about is, yeah, how can I make their life better, their event better, their business better, whatever way you are serving them as a client. Think about them. Because people do not care how much you know about DJing, how much you know about playlists, until they know also how much you care. So if you tell them, look, I want your event to be the best one ever, what can I do as a DJ to make that happen for you? Right? Just switching the question around, literally, instead of you sitting in your bedroom all day, I don't know, maybe they want this, maybe they don't want that. Just ask them, what is it that you're looking for in a DJ? What is it that you're looking for this event? Because I might be able to provide it for you, or hey, I might know somebody. I have a lot of friends in the industry, and I could connect you to them. Sometimes being the connector is the biggest way you can be of value. So your network, if you've ever heard this, your network is your net worth. And I tell Marcel and Sam this all the time. Look at your relationships. Maximize those. Introduce your people to your people, right? Because for example, many of you all, I don't know any of you, but now I get to know you because of Marcel and Sam. And you would have never known me had it not been for them. So now they're the connectors. They've added even more value to their life because they've got a network. So I just want you to remember that, especially when you're in the beginning stages of business or establishing your brand or establishing your identity, your net worth is not just the money in the bank. It's also the relationships that you have. So take care of that. Number one thing in business is take care of your relationships. Do not burn bridges. And I get it. In hip hop, it's a little tougher because there's a little bit of a competition, right? Everyone wants to hold their stuff to their chest. It's like, I'm a better DJ. I don't mess with that crew. Da 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 da. But if you can be the one DJ who has abundance mindset, where you go out there and you say, you know what, there's enough business for everybody. And I'm just going to be so good at my craft that everyone's going to do business with me. And look, I'll hook you up with a gig too, because I do think there's enough business for everybody. It just sets you apart from the competition. Be really careful of scarcity mindset, especially in business. Because if you look at the people playing at the highest levels of their game, all of my most successful clients, they are go-givers is what I call it. If you've never read that book, I highly recommend it. It's called The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. Really small book, real simple. You'll knock it out in a couple hours. But it's just about this giving mentality. If you can give more value, add more value than anybody else in your industry, you win. Because that's really what the competition is who's going to add more value. And so I want to also address this piece. One of the issues I had early on too is because of my insecurity early on. I'm still young. I don't have a lot of clients under my belt. Is I would get into the comparison game. So one of the things that would shoot me in the foot from actually getting stuff done or putting myself out there or marketing is because I would look at another speaker, another coach, and compare myself to them and be like, oh, I'm not as good as them though. I don't know. I don't think I should go for it, or I don't think I should market yet. And so be very careful of comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 21. The reason they're at that level is because they've put 20 years into the game. That DJ's been DJing for 10 years, for 15 years. They've grinded it out since the 90s, since the 80s. So of course they have that skill level. So make sure that anytime you catch yourself comparing, shift that energy into motivation and inspiration, not jealousy. Because comparison can do two things. It can either make you jealous and feel bad, which is my default setting, right? If I wasn't careful, oh man, that DJ is not as good and yet they got the gig. How come I didn't get the gig? Then turn that into, man, they're really not that good and they got the gig. What did they do to get the gig? Let me figure that out, right? Find the strategy, but don't spend time in comparison. It's a waste of your energy. So with an entrepreneur, because each one of you to me, even though you're a DJ, understand that's your craft, that's your creativity. But where you will excel in the game is understanding you're also a CEO. You have to treat your brand as a business. So there's two types of skill sets you're going to have to enhance here. Your skill as a DJ, so your craft, your art, but where you're going to get set apart, and this is my personal experience and belief, is when you also enhance your craft as a CEO, when you learn how to run a business, your professionalism, your branding, how to speak to people, how to negotiate. And these are just like DJing skills. These are skills you build, you practice it, right? You read books, you go to seminars, you have business coaches, just as much as you go to, let's say, the Beat Junkie Institute of Sound as a school to learn how to scratch, to learn how to mix, shout out to them, right? To learn how to produce from the best. Then, as a CEO, as someone who runs your brand, runs your business, go to a business seminar, work with a business coach, work with a consultant, learn the skills that it takes to really establish yourself in the industry. Work with other experienced coaches, find out how to negotiate deals. That's why I say the wise walk with the wise. So to kind of catch you up to my story today, so I'm starting out, right? No experience, coaching people for free, slowly building up clientele, putting myself out there, learning all these lessons. Because honestly, business is something you learn as you do it. Entrepreneurialism is not you go to MBA school and you got it on lock. This is a learn it in the streets sort of industry, but there's shortcuts. And the shortcuts that I'm telling you is make sure you have a success squad. So that's another piece that was really key. There's some people in your life, especially if you're in your 20s right now. My grandmother used to always tell me this, you know, and when you're young, you start out with maybe this many friends. And by the time you're older, you end up with this many friends. And I thought that was really sad at first. I was like, why? Why am I only going to have 3 friends? And she goes, hear me out. These will be your 3 ride or die. I mean, these are the friends that maybe you don't speak to them very often throughout the year, but every time you do talk, it's like you just picked up from yesterday. Those people who had your back from day one, and they will prove themselves as you become more successful. And they also prove themselves when you fail, because they're the ones who are still there no matter what. So pay attention to that, because when I was around 26, 27, my group of friends changed drastically. Drastically. Why? Because my goals changed. And that was one of the hardest decisions, because there's a lot of people who are not going to want to fly in the same level that you're flying at. And it doesn't mean you hate on them. It doesn't mean that you burn that bridge, but just understand that you might not be able to take them with you to where you're going. Because if you really are serious about your craft and your business, you're going to start hanging with people who are excelling in that industry. And some of your friends, maybe if they're not in that same arena, are going to feel left out. They're going to feel like you don't care. You don't want to party with us anymore. All you do is work. And you have to learn not to take that personal. You have to learn to understand that, no, I'm focused because I want to get to this level. And if you want to go with me, I'm happy to take you with me. You know, I'm happy to learn and grow with you. But to be very careful of anybody who makes you feel bad for wanting to grow. So just know that your success squad, this is the top 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you were to look on your phone right now, who you text the most, who you DM the most, who you kick it with the most, who you put on your calendar, those 5 people, if I took their average income, I took their average intellect, I took their average attitude, like positive or negative, I actually get you. It's how human behavior works. So if you want to increase your average income, you want to increase your average intellect, your average skill set, you're going to have to start hanging out, spending more time with a success squad, a top 5 that you want to play with. Like right now, Marisol and I were talking about it. We're big basketball fans. I don't know if y'all have seen The Last Dance on Netflix with Michael Jordan, right? The 91 to 94 Bulls and the 96 to 98 Bulls, one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. Why? Because they were a top 5 that knew how to roll with each other. You can't just have one good player. Michael Jordan was great, but he couldn't win by himself. He needed Rodman, he needed Pippen, he needed Kerr, he needed all the players. Same with you. You might be the Jordan of the group. You might be the Kerr, whoever, but you have to have a crew of people around you to make sure that you keep succeeding. So be careful of who you're hanging around. Are they draining you, or are they helping you to gain energy? And there's 2 types of people in your life that I've noticed. There are needers and there are feeders. You'll want to write that down if any of y'all are taking notes. But there are needers and there are feeders. There's going to be a lot of people in your life who need you. Family needs you, clients need you, kids need you. That's good. It's important. But as an entrepreneur, as a DJ, as someone who is building their business and their brand, you also have to have feeders in your life. People that pour into you, mentors. And you know they're a feeder in your life because when you walk away from their presence after talking to them, you feel full, literally. Like you feel bigger, you feel smarter. You're like, man, I'm more motivated. That's the person you want to keep around you as you grow your business. And so those are just some of the things that helped me along the way to get to where I am today. So like I said, I started out with nothing, coaching people for free, but I kept at it. I kept investing in myself. I kept making sure I wasn't comparing my chapter 1 to somebody's 21. I used it for motivation, not jealousy. I kept a go-giver abundance mindset. There's enough business for everybody, so let's see who I can collaborate with. And I went from a negative to now I run a business that's well over 6 figures. But that was only in 5 years. And had you asked me when I just turned 30 back in 2015, if I would be at this place with my coaching practice and with my speaking engagements, I had no idea. I didn't even know how I was going to get my first client, but you do. And so if there's anything that I could give y'all today, and I know I'll leave room for questions, but is in your pursuit of being the world's best DJ, of just going out there and starting to make a name for yourself, stay humble. It's okay if you start off with a free gig or a low paying gig. You will get there. It'll take time, but you will get there. But the key is consistency. You have to be consistent because business is a marathon. It's a long game. And I'll be honest, especially for the younger folks now, and I mean, I'm young, but I'm not that young, but we're so used to everything being instant. Social media is instant, right? You could go live right away. You can download things immediately. So the way your brain is designed right now is like, I have to have instant success. If not, this career isn't for me. Maybe I'm not doing a good job. Keep at it. Most businesses fail within the first 5 years. 50% fail within the first year. 80% fail within the first 3, 90% fail within the first 5. So it's consistency for a lot of these businesses. Remember, Amazon was not profitable for nearly 10 years. It's only recently that they became profitable. So if you ever doubt yourself and you're like, there's not much in my bank account, I'm really not that good, I'm looking at all these other DJs, remember, use it for motivation. Study their game. Stand on their shoulders, figure out how they think, what they did, so that you can cut 10 years worth of work and then do what they did in 3 years instead of 10. It's 100% possible, but the question you really have to ask yourself, just like I was asked when I started out, what do you really value in your life right now? And is everything that you're doing, everything you're working towards, helping those values? Maybe it's making money for your family. Maybe it's making a name for yourself. Maybe it's making the industry better, but make values-based decisions. And then number 2, are you investing in yourself? Because if you're not growing your skill level, believe me, some other DJ is. So part of the way you get good at this is you keep investing in yourself, keep learning, keep growing, keep getting into these community chats, right? I'm really appreciative of Marcel and Sam because I don't really know any other, DJ community chats that'll have a peak performance coach come in and then just pour mindset stuff into you guys. Because to me, success is 80% psychology. I mean, your mindset going into the game is half the battle. If you watch The Last Dance on Netflix, Jordan is mostly talking about his mindset of wanting to win at every cost. He's talented, yes, but what set him apart as a championship player is his mindset. If any of you were a Kobe fan, rest in peace. He has a book out called Mamba Mentality, not Mamba Tactics, but Mamba Mentality, because he knew it was my mindset that got me to play at this level. The same thing for you. What is your mindset about your skill? What is your mindset about your craft? Is it scarcity-based? Is it abundance-based? Is it fear-based? Is it love-based? And I want you to know, if you live your life by default, it will be fear. If you live your life by default, it's going to be scarcity. A life by design, however, which is what I do, is I help entrepreneurs like Sam, like Marcel, to design how they want to live, how they want to run their business. A life by design upgrades their mindset into abundance, upgrades the questions that they ask into love, into faith. It's very different. So when these two ladies face challenges in business, which we all do, I'm standing there by their side going, okay, how are you thinking about it? And then Marcel will literally be like, all right, I wasn't being a leader of love there. And I'm like, okay, so what do we need to do? And so we're looking at the play of her game. And so that the next time they get into the arena, they know how to address it, right? So I want to give that to you ladies and gentlemen, if there's gentlemen in the group. Last thing, when it comes to perfectionism, and I hate to put it this way, but when you're not putting something out because you're trying to make it so perfect, you're like, no, I can't because it's not perfect yet, or my mix isn't that perfect yet. Shooting for excellence is very different than perfection. So perfection is actually the lowest bar you can set for yourself. The reason being, it does not exist. Perfection will always require you to be like, it's still not perfect enough. It's still not perfect enough. And here's the tough part about perfection is you're just watering the mindset that you're not good enough. So I would rather you shoot for excellent rather than perfection. So if you catch yourself ever saying like, it's not perfect yet, pump the brakes, be like, wait, Coach Kamille said use excellent. So you might just say, you know what? This is not as excellent as I want it to be. Okay, then get there. And eventually you're going to go, it's like, this is actually an excellent mix. It's not perfect, but it's excellent. Good, put it out. Because you're just going to keep getting better. Done is better than perfect. Because again, another DJ will have put out their mix and you're just going to be all sorts of angry about it and resentful and be like, yo, that mix wasn't very good. Well, you know what? They put one out. Did you? I know it's not very good. It's easy to be the critic, but to actually be the creator takes a whole different type of courage. And so sometimes as creators, we don't want to put things out because we don't want to get critiqued, but the truth is we will. But is that the reason you do this? Hopefully not. And if it is because I want to be liked, then you might be in the wrong industry. But if it's to add value to people's lives, I want them to have a good time. I want them to listen to this mix and just be stoked for the day. Then man, you've hit something that other DJs haven't yet. So, and I will say in my coaching, I do this thing called mindset, action, and environment. And one of my tools that I tell my entrepreneurs all the time on mindset, I call it the 3 M's of mindset, is music, mantra, and mentors. So music is one of them. You all are the people I go to when it comes to music, because a good mix and a bad mix can set the tone for somebody's day. When you think about it, right? What are players doing in a locker room before they get onto the championship floor? Got their headphones in, they're trying to get in the zone. Before a boxer goes into the ring, what are they playing? Their theme song. Music is one of the greatest state changers ever. And the cool thing is you all are controllers of that. You can literally change somebody's life just by throwing a really good party. Maybe they needed to be uplifted. Maybe they needed a good mix so that they could cry out their heartache. Maybe they needed this mix to feel inspired today. I use music all the time to change people's states, but I depend on DJs like yourself, on people who are producing things to create that experience, because that's not my forte. It's not my skill set. So just know that it's not just about you DJing, but y'all could actually transform some lives with what you do. And I don't know if anyone's ever thought of it that way, but I'm hoping that's a message for somebody who you might be downplaying your talent. And I'm telling you, that one person who needed to be at that event that day, thanks to you doing a good mix, reminding them of something that was inside of them, that just changed the game. So if you've never thought of your profession from that standpoint, I hope that gives you a little extra inspiration to keep going. Because again, it's not about you. It's about service. And when you start DJing from that place, guaranteed you're going to rock the party. You're going to show up different. People will say, yeah, there's something different about B or Jean or Carla or Andrea. I'm just kind of looking at names right now. About Jenny, like, yeah, I feel really good whenever she's in the space. I don't know what it is about her, but I like her. And not only are you talented, but then you also make people feel cared for, loved, and appreciated. Who would not want to do business with you? So I hope that helps. I know I've been talking a lot, so I'll stop and leave some space for questions. But that's a little bit about my story. Sam, Maricel, any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kamille. Yeah, if any of you guys have any questions for Coach Cam, you guys can type a one in the chat. But I actually did want to ask, you were talking about how consistency really is key in every kind of business. But how do we keep the motivation up to be consistent, especially during times like these where you can have these days where you're just not feeling it because you're home all day, or just this whole time of not knowing what's to come and what the future is supposed to look like, if I should even be focusing on maybe gigs in the future, whether it's in person. Like, I don't know if that's happening anytime soon, right? So what's like the biggest thing in terms of helping us to stay focused on being consistent, especially during times where you're just like, don't really know what's going on?
Yeah. Really, really good question. So, first of all, when it comes to focus, and again, you could write this down. I love to teach. If y'all could tell, I'm always telling people to write things down. You don't have to. It's the teacher in me. So if you're just listening, it's cool. But the thing about focus, I want to shift your mindset on what focus means. When people hear focus, sometimes they think like, I'm not that disciplined, Kamille. I can't focus. So I want you to flip it. Realize that focus is about eliminating distractions. So it's the other way around. Instead of trying to be more focused, I want you to pay attention and ask the question, well, what distracts me? Because whatever distracts you, then cut that out. That's really what you want to focus on. Because then if you can cut out some of the distractions, you may naturally start to focus. So think of it as like when you're a little kid and you go bumper bowling. And I don't know if y'all ever did this, but you put the bumper rails up so the ball doesn't end up in the gutter. And the whole point is so that you hit the strike zone. So whatever you're trying to focus on, creating a mix, scratching for 20 minutes, practicing, hitting up a client, whatever. And if you know, well, my gutter tends to be social media. If I hear my phone go off and then I know I got a DM, then we need to put up a bumper rail so that the ball doesn't go into that gutter. That gutter is your distraction. So what is one way we could bumper rail that? Turn off the notifications on your phone and maybe flip your phone upside down just for the next 20 minutes so you stay in the strike zone. So this is about rigging your environment for success. I'm trying to make focus easier for you rather than forcing you to do something you can't. So it's just a new way to think about it. Look at what distracts you typically and start setting up guardrails against it. And then look, maybe one of it is like, well, Kamille, I just tend to feel some type of way. That's why I can't be consistent. So the second thing I want you to write down is it's called I know versus I feel. So if you recall earlier, I talked about you're either going to live your life by default or by design. I'll tell you right now, the DJs that excel are living their life by design. They're purposefully and intentionally thinking a certain way, doing certain things, not doing certain things so that they can get to their ultimate goal. So in the game of consistency, your enemy is going to be mood swings and feelings. Okay? We cannot control that. That's a default. Especially if you're a woman, we have our time of the month, whatever the moon cycle is, all of that stuff, right? So that's why you have to have something what I call the I knows. What are the I knows in your life? So these are the promises and the truths that you stand on. So for example, and an I know might be, I know that when I take massive action, anything is possible. I know that I've been through some stuff before and I can get through anything that I put my mind through. I know that there's a solution to everything. I just got to look for it, right? So that's an example is have at least 5 I knows. Things that you believe so deeply. I know that my family means so much to me and I will do anything for them. And so I'll eliminate anything that gets in the way of me providing for my family, right? So that when you have your feelings, you go to your I knows. Okay, I feel tired today, but I know if I just take 10 minutes of massive action, oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much progress in my business. But the I knows have to be something you really believe in your heart, right? Oh man, I feel like this is going to be a horrible day. But you know what? I know that there's always something to be grateful for. So I'm going to focus on that and let's start with that. One of your weapons to a really bad mood and bad feelings is the I knows. So every client I work with, I'm always like, okay, what do you know to be true? I know how you feel today, but what do you know to be true? And that's the difference is because when they go to their I knows, they can shift out of it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because it's okay to feel the way that you feel, but then you need to have a way out of it. Think of it like a ship getting tossed in the sea, right? The waves are just the emotions. And if you are the captain of your ship and you don't have some anchors to throw down, yes, it's going to feel like you're going to die because the emotions are just going to take you everywhere. So as the captain of your ship, trying to get to land, trying to get to your goal, you have to have the anchors that you put down. Those are the promises. Those are the truths. Those are the values you stand on. Those are the I knows. Now it takes work. Like I said, I had to do a lot of work as I started growing my business. But once you do it, it's second nature. So now, yes, I still feel some type of way, but because I have my I knows, I snap out of it faster. That's all. You're not going to be exempt from the storms. Everybody gets hit by storms. You just don't have to stay in the storm nearly as long. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
That was I actually had another question.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't want to ask anything, I just wanted to backtrack a little bit in terms of when you would mention mentorship. And when I do talk to people, especially on the younger side, or just even starting a new career, even if no matter what age they are, it's just how do you even go about that? Where do you find someone that could be a mentor to you? Like, how is that? I know there's a lot of people who are just like, well, how does that even work? Where do you find that? How do you know if they're right for you? Things like that.
That's a really good question. So there's kind of two types of mentors. I call it mentors from afar, people that I watch and I study and I admire from afar. They don't even know that they're my mentors, but I watch their videos or I see how they make business decisions. I see how they make life decisions. Sometimes they're even in my family. I have a cousin-in-law and he's like my mentor when it comes to like raising a family, running a business, and he doesn't even know it, but it's just, I love the way that he lives his life. So I just watch him, and you can have mentors from afar, right? So the difference is you have to be in the mindset of being a mentee. Are you willing to be coachable? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to say, I don't know everything yet? Because if you're not, then you won't enjoy a mentor. Because if you're coming from a place of arrogance, you'll be like, nah, it's cool. I already knew that. I'm good. And by the way, if you ever catch yourself saying that, it's not really about what you know. The question is, have you mastered it? Because I don't really care if somebody knows something. What I'm interested in is, have you really mastered that thing, right? So I hear people all the time like, oh, Kamille, I've heard that before in coaching. I'm like, right, but have you mastered it? Have you actually implemented that? Is that a part of your life? Oh, well, no. So then information is just potential. It doesn't really do anything, but information with application, that's actually the transformation. So you can have mentors from afar. So just think of people you admire and you respect, and then get really intentional about studying them, right? Like maybe once a week, you're like, yeah, I wonder what this person's up to. Like watch one of their videos, read one of their ebooks, whatever. It could be just business people, DJs you admire, follow their feed, see what they're up to. But the key is you respect them and you admire them. So again, going to that values-based decision making, do you align with their values? Do you like what they speak about, how they speak, how they treat people, not just their skill set, right? Because if they don't have a lifestyle that you also admire and respect, then they're not a good mentor for you. And then that's why sometimes you hear people say, don't meet your heroes. Because it's like, yeah, I love that they got to that level. Then you meet them and they're jerks and you're like, oh, I don't want to be mentored by them. Yeah, there's a cost maybe to that. And so that might not be worth it to you. So make sure you respect and admire that person. Now, the second type is people that you actually can get in contact with, right? So Beat Junkie Institute of Sound, y'all are super close to some of these world-class DJs. Asking Maricel and Sam if they know other female DJs who have been on the community chats, Cuttin' Candy or anybody. There was another woman out in New York. But even just DMing them, reaching out, just saying, hey, I really appreciate the work that you're doing. If you have any advice, let me know. And then I would say this too. One way that I started to really develop a good relationship with my mentors is find a way to add value to them too, right? So if you know that they support a particular nonprofit, donate to that nonprofit. If you know that their kids, whatever, like going to this particular, I don't know, ice cream shop, send them like a gift card to that ice cream shop or something like that. But find a way to add value to them too. Don't just take from the mentor. Most people love mentoring, so it's not a problem. But it's as simple as sending an email and reaching out to them and just saying, hey, I'm trying to build my business as a DJ. I appreciate any advice that you have. And if there's anything that I could do to support you or help you, I'm really good at this, then offer your service, right? More often than not, they'll be like, nah, it's cool, but I appreciate you asking. A really good example is if you ever watch Michael Jordan's speech at Kobe's funeral, he tells a story of how Kobe would just text Michael Jordan relentlessly, like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, just like, hey, how did you do this play? How did you do that? And he said, and at one point it was just so annoying. Like, dude, why are you bothering me at 2 a.m.? He goes, but now when I think about it, like I also had so much respect for him because he was so passionate about becoming better that he wanted to see him succeed. And so if you're really passionate too, even if it feels like I don't want to bother my mentor, you know, they might actually have more respect for you for being the person who really wants to succeed. But here's the difference. Kobe really played though. He really put in the work. You know, he was a great player. So don't just ask for stuff and then not perform. That's one of the biggest time wasters and I think disrespectful things we could do to our mentors is ask for a ton of advice, but then not act on it. So just make sure that if you're going to make use of their time, you're really going to commit to action too. And that's why I like saying talk to mentors because it kind of puts accountability on you to get stuff done. Because you feel embarrassed, right? It's like, I'm going to talk to this person. I'm not going to get anything done. So it lights a little bit of a fire underneath you. That's a little hack for anybody who avoids taking action.
And that's why we have you, Kamille.
They ain't got no choice. These ladies have to talk to me every week and they're so afraid to say, we didn't do this. We're sorry. And I'm like, it's okay.
Oh, we don't let that be an option, but thanks to you, we've made a lot of leaps and bounds with even just these community chats. So, you know, thank you to everybody that has come here today. We wanted to actually share a little something. Sam's going to share her screen. So if you didn't get a lot of takeaways, I know I did. I actually had some questions lined up, but Kamille ended up actually touching all of the questions that I had. So it's pretty amazing to, you know, again, hear all of these things that I know in the back of my mind have been irking me. You know, and Sam asked some really great questions too. But if you guys enjoyed today, for participating, Kamille is offering her 3-part video series on transforming your mindset, habits, and rituals for free. And please go ahead and email coaching@theultimatelife.com and put Ladies of Sound or LOS in the subject, and then you'll get that link. Thank you so much, Kamille, for today. And for everybody that's attended, if you all, again, liked, you know, today's session, we are going to be replaying, you know, or sorry, sending this out for you guys to watch. We are going to be taking a little break in the month of August. So just so you guys know, we have some things that we are really excited to share with you in the next coming weeks for the month of September. So in the meantime, if you guys want to check out any of the replays that we've done, I think this is the first break Sam and I have been, you know, have taken aside, you know, the passing of George Floyd. This is the first big break that we're actually taking, but again, this is for us to get our September programming going, and we're really excited to share that with all of you. But again, thank you so much, Kamille. Again, you like took all the thoughts out of my head. I'm like, I'm gonna ask this question, and then you ended up saying it. I swear that happened like 5 times. So I was like, oh, okay, so I don't have to worry about it. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much, Coach Cam. You're the best. You always, you know, keep pushing us towards the right direction for success. You know, Coach Kamille is part of our success squad, obviously, guys. So if you're interested in what she's doing and want this for yourself, please check out theultimatelife.com. Follow her at The Ultimate Life on Instagram. And check out, she has a lot of you know, mindset mastery videos that she releases every Monday. So if you would like to continue this, you can check it out there. But also, again, if you want some personal coaching, I highly recommend it. Obviously, you see, you know, Sam and I didn't get here by ourselves. So we our, you know, our coach really helped us get here and focus on our mindset to success. So thank you so much for that, Kamille.
Of course. Thanks for your time, ladies. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
We'll see you guys soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.